The story begins at an airport where a university student named Zhang Li just got off his flight. He's then greeted by a guy who's tasked to fetch him, and he tells Li they'll have to cross the desert first to reach the ruins. On their way, the man expresses his surprise that the other isn't studying archaeology, which Li confirms, revealing he's actually a medical student. The latter simply explains that Albus has always been of interest to him since he was a child, but silently he reflects that he's always been captivated by this unseen mystical world. Albus was an ancient civilization and kingdom established 5,000 years ago, and it lasted about 1,500 years before suddenly perishing. Recently, the quicksand near the once Ninono River sank, revealing the ruins of a city. Archaeologists speculate that this may be the final remains of Elvis, and there's a big possibility that they'll be able to uncover the identity of its last king soon. When Lee's eyes finally land on the ruins, he's excited, but at that time he doesn't know that he'll soon be entangled with the fate of the mysterious ancient kingdom. That night, while exploring the ruins, Lee got separated from his group, and with his phone having no signal, he couldn't contact them at all. When he comes across a group of men, he initially thinks he's found a group. Before he realizes he's mistaken, they're actually tomb raiders aiming to steal treasure from the ruins. Telling himself to be calm, Lee decides to leave and find the research team so he can then report what he witnessed to them. Unbeknownst to him, a man creeps up from behind the college student and hits him on the head, causing him to lose consciousness. Upon waking up, he discovers his surroundings are pitch black and that his head hurts. And when he tries to sit, his head hits what he figures is a lid above his head. Lee is feeling flummoxed when he hears the voices of the tomb raiders from before, talking about him. What he hears from them makes his eyes widen in fear. They've left him inside a sarcophagus. Immediately he yells, demanding that they let him out. He bangs his fist against the walls of the sarcophagus, and he doesn't stop even when his hands become a bloodied mess. In the dark and overwhelmed with fear, Lee doesn't notice drops of his blood traveling within the sarcophagus in strange, almost straight lines before eventually reaching the carved hieroglyphics on the ground. Unexpectedly, the lid of the sarcophagus budges, and after he's able to shove it aside, just enough for him to escape, he finds himself in a small room with a stone statue whose back is facing him. Lee is stunned, and as if compelled, he looks at the statue properly. With how realistic it is, Lee can't help but touch the statue's handsome and regal face. Suddenly, he remembers his current situation, and realizing that he needs to get out first, he hurries outside. Unbeknownst to him, the part of the statue's face that Lee touched crumbles, revealing gray skin, and slowly the stone statue opens his eyes, fully coming to life. While the medical student makes his escape, unfortunately, he comes across some of the men who imprisoned him. The tomb raiders make a move to attack Lee, who figures he can at least hold his own against two people. He manages to deck one guy, while he quickly bypasses the other. However, his luck runs out, having run into the rest of the tomb raiders, and since they wield shovels, Lee has no chance against them. To make matters worse, he trips on a rock, causing the blonde to stumble forward, while one of the tomb raiders takes this chance to injure the young man with his knife, while Lee is having the sudden horrible realization that he might actually die. Unexpected help suddenly arrives. It's the stone statue from before, and with his sword he makes short work of the evil tomb raiders. Lee is stunned, and even when the fighting comes to a halt, with all the thieving men lying on the ground, he still can't fathom the fact that the stone statue came to life. Eventually, the gray man turns his attention to Lee, who can't help but tremble in fright, especially after having witnessed the one stone man's merciless treatment of the tomb raiders. He approaches, his figure looming while his hand reaches out, but to Lee's utter confusion, the gray man only gently wipes the blood on his cheek. The stone man's mouth moves, and though no voice comes out, he clearly mouths the words, "Long time no see." He smiles at Lee, whose eyes are wide in astonishment and disbelief. This is their first encounter and the start of everything. Some time passes, and a distracted Zhang Li is currently working at his university's laboratory when somebody suddenly calls his name. While one of his fellow students fervently asks him for some tips, two others are worried about how the blonde has been constantly in a daze lately. Lee assures them that he's fine, as, after all, he's already recovered from his injuries. Inwardly, Lee recalls how he had fainted after having the weird encounter with the moving stone statue, and afterward, he was then found by the archaeological team, brought to the hospital where he woke up a week later. He was told that the tomb raiders were all caught, but when he asked about the statue, no one had seen it. Since then, Lee had been having strange dreams about a man who looks remarkably like the stone statue he encountered in the ruins. Often, the blonde would suddenly wake up, feeling like someone was staring at him, and because of this, he began to feel paranoid. Currently, on his way home, Lee is in a daze again and is about to cross the street when a car honks at him. The blonde is slow to respond, but fortunately someone quickly yanks him back, causing him and his savior to collapse in a heap on the sidewalk. Immensely grateful, Lee turns to thank the person, but upon seeing it a stone statue from the ruins, he freezes in shock. As the gray man didn't hurt him before, and he just suddenly saved Lee from getting run over, the blonde can't help but wonder if the gray stranger is protecting him. With earnest eyes, the guy tries to tell him something, still without a voice but gesturing with his hands. Lee excitedly assumes that the one stone statue is trying to tell him why the latter saved him. But he falters when the gray man takes his hand and places it on his chest. When a voice suddenly calls out to Lee, both of them freeze, and in the next second, the gray stranger disappears in a gust of wind, just as the blonde labmate from before pops out of a hedge. The newly arrived person just barely missed the gray man, and after a quick look around, Lee huffs as his savior is now hiding once again. Later, upon arriving home, the blonde stares at the offerings left at his doorstep, and glancing to his right, he spots the gray man hiding among the bushes. Smiling in amusement, he exclaims loudly how he's so happy to receive such delightful treasures as he enters his house. The gray man is pleased, and later it unfortunately starts to rain, which then turns into a heavy downpour. Thoroughly soaked, he seeks refuge on Lee's doorstep, but it doesn't help alleviate the extreme coldness that he's feeling. Just then, he notices that the front door is actually open, and softly he enters, a pitch-black hallway greeting him. Suddenly, the door slams close, spooking the gray man, and after he spots a hand reaching for him, the next thing he knows is he's trapped against the wall by Lee, who says there's no escape for him this time. With a hard look on his face, the blonde questions the one statue of his intentions, threatening to feed him frogs if he doesn't answer. Once again, the gray man gestures wildly, spraying droplets of water on Lee, who finally realizes that his savior can't really talk. He then drags the taller man to the bathroom, where he proceeds to dry him with a towel, realizing that the other has actually soft hair. Lee inspects the gray man, poking and prodding at him, discovering that his tongue and vocal cords are hard, which is why he can't make any sounds. The surface of the man is hard, but the inner tissue is soft, allowing him to move freely. While he ponders about the curious phenomenon that is the one statue, the subject of his observation suddenly smiles, and he can't help but stare, thinking the gray man is just like a fool, quite similar to a cute and fluffy dog. He sighs, musing that even though he doesn't know much about the man, his twice savior doesn't seem to have bad intentions, and in good conscience he can't leave the man outside in the rain. However, Lee never expected that one night would turn into 2 nights, which would then turn into a full week before becoming a whole month. The gray man has lost his wariness, even clinging to him now, and even when the blonde protests their closeness, the insistent man doesn't let it deter him. Lee sighs in resignation, and later, when he falls asleep, the gray man gently covers him with his blanket, before simply staring at him contentedly. Later, Lee glances at his gray companion, sleeping peacefully by his side. With a tender look on his face, he muses he doesn't mind having the other man around. Not at all. During one warm day, while the two are simply keeping each other company, Lee is reading about how Albus places great importance on death and expects resurrection to be carried after through rituals and spells. When a petal lands on the page he's reading, he glances at Lunkhead, the name he calls the Grey Man, and he muses that the latter has been with him for 2 months. The taller man looks devastated at his wilting flower, and as he still looks down that night, Lee decides to invite him for a stroll. After the blonde brings him to a field behind the school, he notices something wrong with Lunkhead. Upon closer observation, he looks bothered, and his eyes are red. Curious and concerned, Lee approaches him, when suddenly the taller man pounces at him. Lunkhead bites his neck, drawing blood, before the blonde manages to push him away. The gray man seems to come back to himself, and upon seeing Lee's terrified expression, he freezes. He looks horrified and shameful at what he's done, so he turns away, intending to bolt, but the blonde stops him. Despite what happened, Lee is still concerned about Lunkhead's state, and he begs him not to go as he's losing consciousness. When he falls, the gray man catches him, panicking horribly, and he carries Lee in his arms before rushing home. For a week, Lee has fever, and he keeps falling in and out of consciousness. During the moments that he's lucid, he'd see Lunkhead taking care of him, but there are also times when he seems to be struggling, holding himself back, or looking terribly sad. Lee wonders if they're actually dreams, and he has this feeling that this sweet and gentle gray man is about to leave him. When he wakes up, Lunkhead is nowhere to be found, but later he realizes that the gray man is simply keeping his distance. When he turns around quickly, Lee sees him, but Lunkhead only flees, leaving the blonde confused and concerned of the other's actions. Later, as the sun is setting, Lee ponders by the pool, thinking that Lunkhead is back to his stalking, and he recalls where the gray man revealed himself the last time. The next moment, there's a splash, and there, under the water, Lee waits, counting down. Just as he expected, Lunkhead appears, his face worried, reaching for Lee and dragging him up to the surface. Before they can leave the pool, Lee grabs the gray man and he firmly holds onto him, saying he wants to know why the other is avoiding him. Lunkhead shakes off his grip, not wanting to reveal anything, and it's then that Lee notices the cracks in his hands and wrists. His eyes widen, alarmed, and he immediately insists to take a look at the rest of him. Though Lunkhead tries to dodge, the blonde manages to lift his shirt, revealing a large crack on Lunkhead's chest. Lee's voice shakes as he asks him what's happening, but Lunkhead doesn't answer, merely looking away. Lee's mind races, recalling everything that happened since he got attacked by Lunkhead, and he concludes that perhaps the cracks appearing on his body were caused by him forcing himself not to attack Lee. From Lunkhead's expression, Lee realizes that he guessed right, and as he's looking terribly saddened, the gray man tries to cheer him up, conveying that he's feeling all right. Lee grabs his head, looks him in the eyes, and demands Lunkhead not to pretend. He pulls down his shirt, offering his neck, and says he doesn't mind getting injured if it means that Lunkhead will recover. The gray man's eyes widen, and he feels the urge, the thirst. He's losing his self-control, but then he remembers Lee's face right after he attacked him, looking horrified, and he just freezes up. He pushes Lee away, much to his confusion, and he just smiles, forgiving him a ridiculous and funny expression. Lee is stunned, looking utterly bothered, while Lunkhead excitedly shows him an earring he made from the flower that he had painstakingly grown. He attaches it to the blonde's ear, while Lee remains silent, gritting his teeth, and suddenly he smacks the accessory into the ground. Looking desperate, Lee tells the gray man that he doesn't care about the earring. He's frustrated that Lunkhead is acting like there's nothing wrong, that he's not taking his deteriorating body seriously. In a fit of rage, Lee stomps away, leaving Lunkhead alone, who then picks up the discarded earring, looking forlorn. Outside, Lee is pissed off, but then he loses steam. He looks pensive before he abruptly turns around, runs back as he's thinking he can't leave Lunkhead alone at his state. While the moon shines from above, Lee pants as he runs back to the greenhouse, and he approaches Lunkhead, thankful that he hasn't left. He starts apologizing, saying he didn't mean to lose his temper, and proposes that maybe Lunkhead can just give him a small bite for now. Lunkhead starts to stand, and already there are cracks on his face. Not just there are cracks all throughout his body, but he's still smiling at the blonde. Lee is shocked, unable to say anything, and while Lunkhead approaches him, his foot cracks and it crumbles, making him lose balance. Lee hurries to catch him, and by this time, Lunkhead's feet are no more. The gray man raises his head, and on his face he still has his sweet smile, which startles Lee, who's feeling devastated. He touches Lunkhead's face, asking how he deteriorated so quickly when he just left for a moment. His shaking hand caresses the gray skin, but Lunkhead only shakes his head, giving Lee a gentle expression. While the blonde is feeling helpless, Lunkhead draws him closer and puts a necklace around his neck. It's the flower accessory that Lunkhead made, and Lee remembers how he reacted earlier. Chuckling, he sincerely thanks Lunkhead for his gift, calling it beautiful, and for a moment he gets bashful. This time it's Lunkhead who caresses his face, and he leans forward, their breaths mingling. Lee understands what Lunkhead wants, and though he thinks the other man's final request is cunning, he still closes his eyes, and the two share a bittersweet kiss. Right then, Lunkhead's body crumbles into pieces of stone, until all that's left of him is ash and a jewel. Lee's arm is suspended right where he's clutching the gray man, and the light of his eyes diminishes as terrible sadness overwhelms him. As he stares at the red heart-shaped jewel, his tears drop on it. He hates himself for running away earlier, and for not noticing Lunkhead's cracks soon. He hates himself for only now realizing his feelings. He hugs the jewel, not noticing that it's lighting up, as all he can think is that meeting Lunkhead was a miracle. Fervently, he wishes for a miracle to happen once again, that Lunkhead will return to his side, and with that, he is enveloped in a bright light. The first thought that registers to Lee's brain is that the light is blinding. Then there's wind, there's sand, and there's someone right in front of him. The man is imposing, regal, but most importantly, achingly familiar. It's Lunkhead. Lee staggers up, thinking miracles do exist, and he wastes no time throwing himself to the man who's become so precious to him. But then he's thrown back, and Lee, who lands on the ground, is confused. The man who looks like Lunkhead but with tan skin speaks, wondering if Lee is an assassin, and with one single command, the blonde is restrained. Lee takes in the rest of his surroundings, the men with spears, the buildings behind them, and when he turns his head around, a towering stone tablet that is falling, revealing a city behind it that's also familiar, Bengal City. Lee saw its ruins when he visited the archaeological site of Elvis not too long ago. Lee is shocked, and he figures he must have traveled back in time. If that is so, then the regal man who looks like his Lunkhead must be the king. And this is how this segment of the manhwa ends. If you like the story and want us to continue, please comment down below the name Lunkhead